Now that we have discussed about Euclid's contribution to understanding the geometry in his own mathematical understanding in historical facts, let's see the most important concept as contributed by Euclid, called Euclid's postulates. There are 5 postulates which are recognized in the branch of mathematics and are found to be very helpful in mathematical understanding. So let's see the 5 Euclid's postulates, the contribution of Euclid in geometry. Euclid's postulates. Each postulate has its own understanding which helps us in understanding various geometrical properties involved in real life situations. So coming to Euclid's postulates is the topic of the session. To start with, postulate number 1. Postulate 1. So what was Euclid's postulate number 1? Postulate number 1 states that if I take any 2 distinct points in the plane, randomly any 2 distinct points taken in the plane, then Euclid's postulate number 1 says that there's only one and unique line which passes through those 2 points. You cannot have more than one line which passes through. So here the postulate number 1 says, given the 2 distinct points one and only one line can be drawn passing through them, that is, passing through the 2 distinct points. So postulate number 1 clearly says, given the 2 distinct points, one and only one line can be drawn passing through them. This is one of the most important invention during those times in history. We are applying the concepts in the modern times, but everything has originated from the Euclid's postulates, his contribution to geometry. So let's see the statement in brief, the postulate number 1 in brief. The postulate number 1 says, given the 2 distinct points. So let me take the 2 points which are distinct in the sense they are not same from each other. They are different from each other. So given that there are 2 points which are different from each other, then Euclid's postulate number 1 says that there is only one line which can pass through them. It's very clear that when we take the ruler and try to draw a line joining the 2 points, obviously you have only one line which can pass through them. You cannot investigate on trying to draw another line passing through the 2 points. Is how Euclid has contributed through postulate number 1. Given the 2 distinct points A and B, there's only one and unique line which can pass through them. So according to postulate number 1, this is called the unique line through A and B. So here the line which I draw through A and B is the unique line, that is, note there cannot be any other line which can be drawn there cannot be any other line which can be drawn through A and B. This is the only line which can be drawn through A and B, is how I understand the postulate number one. Given two distinct points, there's only one line, a unique line which can be drawn through A and B. No, more than one line is not possible according to Euclid's postulate number one. Euclid and his postulate number one contributed to the mathematical society. Now that we have learnt about postulate number one as contributed by Euclid, let's now see what postulate number two states in its own definition. Postulate number two. Now, before we get into the postulate number two, we all know what a line segment is. In the modern times, we have been discussing about a line segment, what Euclid has called during his times as a terminated line. So as we take, let's see the definition and then get into understanding the concept by taking an example situation. A terminated line can be produced indefinitely. So here the postulate number two says a terminated line can be produced indefinitely. So what does this mean? A terminated line is the term which in modern times is referred as the line segment. We all know what a line segment is. The line which has ends towards the right and the left. Suppose I take a line segment AB. So here is my line segment. So my line segment is connected by the points A and B. So the terminated line is the line which ends on either side, is what Euclid has defined in his own terms. So in terms of line segment, the line which ends on both sides can also be produced according to Euclid. His postulate number two says that a line which ends at 2 points can be extended on either side and also can be extended onto this side, so that this line can be a straight line which can indefinitely be extended on the right and the left. So this line goes till plus infinity on the right and minus infinity on the left, is what we have learnt in the real number line. So a terminated line can be produced indefinitely on either side of its terminated points A and B, so that we get an infinite line, or it can be produced indefinitely, is what is postulate number two defined as. Euclid's contribution to mathematical society using the postulate number two. A terminated line can be produced indefinitely.